Hi, my lovely friends. Today we're going to learn some vocabulary with Julian Assange. If you want to read more formal definitions of the words that I'll share, please check out the description. Let's do this.
Censorship in the West is also a problem. And censorship in the West is used to legitimize censorship in other countries.
The first word of our lesson is legitimize, which is a verb. Imagine something unfair or morally wrong, and then someone comes along and makes this thing acceptable. This is to legitimize something. Pay attention to the pattern there. So it must be used with an object, legitimize something. It's a transitive verb. Or use it in the passive form, to be plus legitimized, which is the participle form. So he says that censorship in the West makes censorship that is unnecessary in other countries acceptable.
And abuses in the West of Enlightenment ideals, which we should all hold dear. And
he says we should hold dear, that is, to value Enlightenment ideals. You may be familiar with the Enlightenment movement. It was an important intellectual movement that took place in Europe, and it advocated for obtaining knowledge and information through reason and relying on empirical evidence instead of looking up to an authority figure.
The corrosion of those ideals not only impoverishes Western countries, it is also used as an excuse for terrible abuses.
The corrosion of those ideals, when those ideas are not paid attention to, other countries will certainly suffer. You remember the word impoverish from a different video lesson, which means to make something or someone poor. It kind of reduces the quality of human life in other countries.
In particular, countries that follow the common law that was set up by the British Empire. For example, abuses of libel law.
Abuses of libel law. Let's talk about libel, which is the act of printing or writing untrue statements about someone to spoil their reputation. A good word that I could introduce here is fallacious, which means untrue. So if someone commits libel, they will print fallacious ideas about someone to besmirch, which means to spoil someone's reputation. That's a more advanced word that you may want to learn, besmirch.
They're used in Africa to imprison some fine journalists in severe conditions, based upon precedent set in the UK. So I'm not sure how many people here are familiar with the basics of my work, and I'll just try and go very briefly through that so you can understand where I'm coming from. As a journalist and as a programmer and as someone who was involved in the embryonic internet and bringing the internet to people and bringing...
Embryonic internet. He is talking about the early stages of the development of the internet, embryonic. You may be familiar with the word embryo, but this is the adjective form, embryonic.
That great tool of information and publishing freedom to people. I saw that we could achieve a lot of reform with a little bit of work. And of course, you all know this, and you should remember Solzhenitsyn's words that in the right moment.
Solzhenitsyn has a great book. It is a masterpiece that I believe everyone should read. It's called the Gulag Archipelago. It's all about tyranny in the Soviet Union. So check it out, Solzhenitsyn's Gulag Archipelago.
One word of truth outweighs the world. And Solzhenitsyn was referring to a world of lies.
One word of truth outweighs, is heavier, is more powerful than a world of lies, a web of lies. Anyways, I hope you've learned at least one word.